pay. You know, because this is coming in, they're asking us, and I don't have background as to what questions I should be asking at this point. Is this something we say, oh, sounds great, you need to get with township, then let us know where you're at? Or should we be asking these kind of questions right now?
Well, I think, yes, we should be asking all these questions, because this isn't gonna be a slow, or a quick thing. It's not nothing that's gonna get done this year, and who knows, maybe even next year. But there's a lot of hoops that we have to, I don't want to say jump through hoops, but there's a lot of things we have to get done legally, along with what should be done for the residents of the township.
Right.
This is just to me, it's the starting point to, let's start having these conversations, let's figure out what we need, because it's gonna take a considerable amount of work to do this. If it gets
one of my first questions would be, is I know that you're mining on the north side of Mosherville. So that must take this big machine as well.
No.
Okay, so that is my question. Why does it take that machine over there?
North of Mosherville Road, that's a royalty piece. We're paying royalty to mine that. We just have a drag line over there. We're digging 2 9-acre lakes. So that's not a big project for us. It's not even our property.
Okay, so again, I am not a mining expert, so I have an idea of a drag line digs a pond. So this other machine digs a deeper lake?
This other machine actually floats in the lake.
Okay.
Where the drag line is just a crane on track, so we're able to drive it over there.
Okay, and that's going to be a dry lake until you're done? Or are you working in water?
No, we're working in the water over there.
And so drag lines on this 120-acre parcel isn't a good solution, or you won't get as much mined, or?
This is a better solution. They're outdated.
The drag lines are outdated?
The drag lines are outdated. They are they're a big issue with the local.
Big issue with the local residents?
With the local residents.
Because?
Of the noise.
And you can't muffle them?
Right.
I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't know.
There's cables and chains that hang off them. They go out, so when they pull those up, those chains rattle.
Okay, clank.
And then they're diesel powered, old screaming engines, where this dredge is all electric.
Okay.
So very quiet.
Okay.
Floats on the water. We pump it.
Yeah, it's a slurry.
I'll just give you an illustration, Kathy. There's a big gravel pit 3.5 miles from my home. And on a clear morning, I can hear their equipment working from my farm.
I think we gotta give them something like, if we meet all these concessions, what's the general of the board? If they meet everything. I mean, if they meet all this and we say no, it's a waste of time.
Well, I guess at this point in time, Bob, I'd like to see that they get
I agree.
a commitment from the residents. And what about the Moscow Township Board?
Yeah, I'd like to hear.
Are you guys all in favor of this, or you have some concessions, or?
Well, I don't want to speak for the board. I'm the supervisor of township.
Yeah.
And as this moves on, I'll be the only remaining regional member, because we're gonna have a whole new board. From the onset of this project.
Oh, I see, okay.
I don't see, gotta be careful here, I don't see any resistance. I don't think they're gonna get an absolute approval from residents on the road. I think you're gonna see more resistance of people on Mosherville Road using that as a shortcut.
Yeah.
To get to US 12. I don't think you're gonna see I don't think they'll get absolute approval with the residents on the road, but I think you'll get a majority of them. I would think that's reasonable. But I don't want to speak for the board at this point, but I haven't seen a lot of resistance. And some of the new members coming on, I don't know. We do have.
The ones that voice their concerns to us, we have had meetings, we don't have signatures, but we can go back and talk to people.
Personally, I think there's gonna be some advantages that Brad has brought up. It's gonna be a single acre lake. I think the safety is gonna be much better by closing the road off because you'll reduce the amount of traffic across the road. I was amazed the amount of traffic that goes across Mooresville Road now, of the Stoneville traffic that goes across that road. And if that has to go on for the next 20 years across Bibbins Road, that's gonna be big. Cause they gotta get equipment over there, gotta get fuel over there, they got a lot of things that go back and forth across that road. I think it'll be just be hard to maintain that road. It'll be hard to, maintain the safety. You will not have the continuous buffers for noise and dust. You will have a continuous buffer if you close the road off. This is my personal opinion. And I've asked myself if this happened to come, and it's down to the township board. How do I defend it? How do I answer those questions? I've been asking myself that a lot. And my trips down Mortimer Road kind of helped me with that, because there's a lot of use on that road. And it's gonna go to Bivens Road, it's gonna go to Bivens, not just for 3 or 4 years like it is on Mortimer Road, it's gonna be there for 20, 25 years, or 30 years. So I think that's a long-term thing we need to think about, not just right now. Does that answer the question?
So I have a question. Thanks for, being willing to share your thoughts on this. To me, it's helpful. But a question I have is what about the people on your fire department? How do they feel about this?
There's concerns. It won't affect people on Bivens Road, it will affect the people on Motorville Road. It's a little longer path for them. And for me, it's only about 3 or 4 residences on Motorville Road that's gonna be affected by that.
I think the next step to happen is you need to get a signed document from all the residents saying that they agree with it. Once we have that, then we can move forward, but until we have that, we can't do anything.
I don't think they'll get one that's 100%. They're gonna have to make a decision.
Well, I guess what I was gonna suggest is, like Kathy had said, she gave me a list of things that she's found that we have to do. Let me look into it, we'll have to set up some more meetings, and kind of come up with a timeline or a checklist of we need to go through these steps and just move forward as that dictates.
So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
My question is, and I don't remember, because I went to a breakout session at a conference that talked about road abandonment, and that's where it came from. If they follow those steps, do we have to agree with it, or do we have final say that we agree with this or don't agree with it? That's what I don't remember.
This board has final say on abandoning a road or not.
Okay.
Now, there are certain steps that legally have to be done
To get
even
there.
get to where allow you to even do
Right.
it. So to me, I think we need to identify and meet with Stone Cold, meet with you, meet with the township, and say, okay, these are the steps that we feel have to be done. And then we need to, I guess, follow those steps and see where it can take us. I don't want to say yes or no, because one, it's not my call anyway. But I think once everybody understands this is the process to move forward, it'll be easier to identify, and I think you'll have an easier time to make a decision. They'll have an easier time to say what they can and can't do as far as their business.
So I have another question, just for clarification. So we're talking about closing the north end of Bibbins Road, like from Mosierville south 1,200 and some feet. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So all the residences are on the south end off of US 12. And so it would come up do a cul-de-sac past the last houses or whatever, that Petro or whatever. And they've got whole plans for, I think for the fire department, for a pump, for lighting, for, you know, and those are all very good, you know, things to think about and talk about. But I think we need to work through all the legal issues first to make sure we can cover all those, and everybody's good with those. Then we can move on to, you know, maybe some of the.
As far as the residents though, I'm thinking like a drainage district or an assessment or anything like that, it goes with a simple majority, doesn't it?
Well, and before I answer that, I wanna do a little digging.
You wanna do a little digging? Okay.
And I'm guessing back to the same thing, I still think they need to go to the residents and see if they even have a majority.
And I agree, but I think that is part of the steps that we need to take. That's just one of the steps that will need to be looked at.
Right.
So I do know that when this came up before, the question arose that if this happens, then can, you know, anybody who owns both sides of the road petition the road commission to close roads, and what that precedent means going forward. So I need that to be part of this discussion.
Yes, that would have to be part of the discussion.
Okay.
Just my personal opinion again, just that's all it is. If this were to go through, and then you had farmers do the same thing, to me, it would need to meet the same criteria of, like, inconvenience or convenience, whatever you want to call it, to the residents. Is it a through road? Because this is specifically a 1 mile.
Right.
It doesn't go anywhere. Now, if that was a through and it kept on going to Barwell Lake Road and kept on going south to, I would have to say I would vote against it myself.
Probably wouldn't be a
But this is a unique situation. So it doesn't, I don't want to say affect, but it doesn't apply to a long road. This is a specific 1 mile stretch that you're cut in half. Now, if that same situation were to be out there for a farmer, I think you would have to look at the same thing. But
well, I do know I want that to be part of this conversation, so that again, we kind of have a not necessarily policy, but we have a roadmap or something that, or a criteria, checklist, something that we're making these decisions, not just willy-nilly, but how it would affect future decisions. So.
Can I share a story, Sheriff?
Sure.
Austin Fisher with Snowcone. We've done this road abandonment in other areas, specifically Monroe County. The law and the process is pretty straightforward, you know, to how it happens. It's all laid out in the MCL. I can share what happened with that situation is we presented the idea, we, you know, socialized it with the township that was the governing body. We were actually annexed into a village, but that section of road was governed by the county and the township with responsibility for maintenance reasons. Went through that process of socialization, which similar to what we have done now. I think we met last year in person. We met at another meeting prior. This is now, I think, our 4th meeting of talking about this. It was presented to the board, public comment. There was a public hearing to receive comment for that. The board then voted in favor of abandoning a section of road. We then went to the township, socialized it further, had a public hearing, had discussions, all the things that you guys are all bringing up. We talked about EMS services, fire, guardrails, right? Because it's now, you know, a closed off road, you know, who's all responsible? We paid for the construction of that cul-de-sac, the guardrails, the signage, all of the engineering requirements needed to make sure that road is safe. We provided, you know, a study of information of, you know, what is the time difference for the residents that may need EMS, you know, to present that, you know, for everyone to feel comfortable, right? Because, you know, it's different, right? All that process did go smoothly. You know, it's different, right? So public may or may not, but it's also a township of many residents, not just a township of of the folks in that just immediate area, right? Which is your guys' judgment call, right? You have to consider the whole based for the community and the need there, right? We've been a strong community partner in that area, in that township, provided many different resources. We want to be a good corporate citizen and corporate neighbor to a lot of the people. We want to do the right thing, right? That's ultimately the thing. So we want to do the right thing. This is an option, right? If we don't go through this option, it is a culvert, just like we have at Moscow, Mosherville Road, and it's probably not a possibility for us to and make those improvements on the road and some of that other stuff down the road, right? We want to do the stuff with the community, with the township. That's our desire, right? Because more people benefit from it. Not just us, the entire community. We talked about putting that culvert in. No problem. We can do that. But you know, this is a more positive benefit to the community as a whole to be able to do some of this road abandonment. So, you know, we would need some clarity on, is there a majority? What does that look like? Because in that other instance, there was no. We were the major landowner of the similar section of roadway in Monroe County. We didn't get signatures of all the people on the road, right? Because you're never going to get 100 people to agree. You're never going to get 100 people to participate in a signature, right? Who's going to want to sign their name to something, right? So I just challenge that a little bit because that's going to be hard, pragmatically speaking, to obtain. You know, we've done in-person sit-downs with many of the neighbors and many of the naysayers of this idea, right? And we feel, you know, we've met with the township, we've had those public hearings to talk about this idea and this concept, right? We feel that we've reached to some socialization of this idea that everyone understands what it is. You know, there's more community benefits than just putting a pipe in through the road. We're going to still have all the equipment crossing constantly for the next 20, 25 years, who knows, 30 years. You know, the noise, the dust, right, of that crossing, where we can prevent a lot of headaches over a long span period of time from our operation as well as subcontractors by having our dredge just float right through there and create a more symbiotic use in the end for the community. So just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Thank you. I think we better get our ducks in a row.
All right, well,
Can we have that guide sheet too, like so that we?
I thought it was already forwarded to them. I thought you already had it.
No.
yes, I'll get in
Okay,
on that.
perfect.
I don't remember it, but it came to me.
Right, because I think I talked to you, I know I gave it to you,
Yeah.
and I thought I talked to you about it, and I thought we talked about you giving it to Stone Coast so that they knew, you know, essentially what we do. So I don't know if that ever happened. But again, that's been, you know, over months, and so
I will get back on it.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So from this point, I'm taking it, you want me to start moving forward with at least a plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't do what's been done in the past. Roads were closed, just.
I want to do it just willy-nilly.
Okay.
Well, if you wanna leave your contact information with your email,
Yeah.
that's what I was getting to. So we can get.
So does that work?
to you.
Yeah.
You guys?
Yeah.
And there will be partners here.
Like I said, this won't be a quick thing, but.
Unfortunately.
We can at least get the ball rolling and see where we need to go.
Yeah, we have to make a decision on the pipe soon. So,
When you say soon,
like in the next few months. So,
Okay.
I mean, we're prepared to put whatever resources it's required to make y'all feel comfortable, I guess, with the concept and the community comfortable. But we are almost out of reserves north of Mosierville Road, and we will be moving west.
You already done north of Mosierville Road?
We will be.
With that culvert that went under there, you're already done. You will be.
We produce about 2 million tons, or about 1.5 million tons a year at that location.
Bring it
So when you're done with that, is that culvert gonna get removed?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask what you do for Stoneko?
I'm the West Operations Manager, so Austin here is the site manager, Brad's our regional operations manager for the South. I'm the West Operations Manager, so I take everything from Moscow, West, Angola, all the way to Grand Rapids. So.
All right, seeing how Stone Coat's here, I show up to Moscow Township meetings, and at the Moscow Township meetings, I know that there's been expressed the noise issue for the residents surrounding Stoco, especially at their entrance, about trucks coming in, about Jake brakes, and about timing. Has that, and the other information I got, which I have not verified, is that the Monroe location does not let trucks in as early as the Moscow location, that you're not using the same rules in both locations. Has that been ironed out, or is that still the case?
None of our locations have the exact identical operating hours locations.
Okay, all right, so I would think as part of this Vivens Road, that would get ironed out, because I would believe that Moscow residents deserve the same courtesy that Monroe County residents deserve.
Well, we have
I'm not on the board,
yeah,
but
we have operations in Monroe County where they can ship 24/7.
well, again,
So,
I don't
like-
know the specifics, but it was about Jake brakes. I know we had a preliminary conversation, and what I remember from that meeting is that those are independently owned trucks. We can't control what they do, but yet at some locations you do control it by your hours that you allow them in.
Because we're regulated by different municipalities everywhere.
I understand the different municipalities, but I think our citizens in Moscow Township, we may not have as many rules and regulations you have to follow, but I think they deserve the same courtesy when they're trying to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning as Monroe County residents do. And essentially what you have is more regulations, more rules and regulations there than what we do in Moscow Township. So how do we get some of those things that maybe Moscow Township residents deserve as well? That would be my question. I know the rule isn't there, but that doesn't mean that maybe there should be a conversation and maybe something happen.
Sure. And we take all the complaints. We just had one recently that we, addressed and reminded drivers, and drivers won't haul for us if they don't do things certain ways.
Well,
Stuff like
again,
that,
that's not the conversation that's not what I heard at that meeting. What I heard at that meeting is that they're independent contractors and we can't control them. That's what I was told.
Yeah, ultimately, they are independent contractors, right? We have some influence to that.
You have a lot of influence,
So.
because you can allow them in the pit or not. But anyway, I would hope some of that would be ironed out with this Bivens Road. So, anyway, just my observations from attending Moscow Township meetings for about 3 years now. So.
I'll look forward to that list of items, and we'll tackle it as quick as we can.
All right.
So, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Now we're back to manager stuff.
Alright.
Yes, sir, Mr. Manager.
Hopefully short and sweet.
Okay.
I can give you the written version.
Oh, you got paper?
We'll just take a moment to read it.
I'll just hit some highlights then. The Territorial Road, culvert, east of Bird Lake, we're still waiting on Eagle. That was submitted on September 30th, so we're just waiting on them to reply back to us on that. We also were submitting, for another location on Buckeye Road, west of Bird Lake Road. and that's for another tube that was going bad. Let's see, Somerset Road, I think I talked last meeting about closing that, for Stewart.
That wasn't last meeting, that's happened since the last meeting.
Okay, well, then, Somerset Road, north of Stewart Road, we've closed, for a structure that's failing. And so again, that will be, we had Scott Civil Engineer come look at it after we had an issue brought up that it was, I guess that one was the boards on it's technically not a bridge, so it's considered as a structure, like a culvert, but the boards on the structure would wave at you when the trucks drove by. Well, they came out and did a examination of it. The I-beams, I guess what it was is, I don't know, 20 some years ago, that structure was redone, head walls were poured, I-beams, steel I-beams put on it, but then the boards on that. Well, the I-beams have deteriorated to the point where, from the looks of it to me, the bolts that would normally hold the boards to the I-beam, the I-beam's not there anymore. So there's no bolts on a significant portion of it. So they recommended that we close it immediately, in which we did. We put out all the advertisements and put on the web and everything to let everybody know that it was contacted the schools and the township and all that. So now we're in the process of what it's gonna take to replace it. What Eagle's gonna dictate is how big a structure they're gonna make. So right now it's not a bridge, but by the time they get done, it could be a bridge. We don't know yet, so.
So what is I mean, are we gonna contact Eagle first before we do this, or?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we really can't do anything until they tell us what we can and can't do.
And so we may be waiting and waiting.
Hopefully not. That'll be another part of my update, but. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, my question is this. You're telling, yeah, put your hand down, I can't see it, I like to see who I'm talking to, sorry. I'm hearing I-beams are failing, not the underlying structure.
That is the structure.
Well, those I-beams are attached to something.
Yes.
Okay, and if whatever they're attached to is not failing, why isn't it just a repair, pull up boards, put down new I-beams and go forward without any Eagle interruption?
I don't know about that. If that's the case and we can do that, I'd love to do it on it, but we gotta do everything. We'll have Scott Civil Engineering come out and take a look again and see exactly what needs to be, in their opinion, what needs to be replaced. If we can keep those abutments, great. And if we can put a timber deck on it, that would be ideal. But we need to do our research first.
So why does Eagle have to be involved? Eagle doesn't have to be involved yet.
Everything we do that has to do with a stream crossing has to go through them.
But shouldn't that be a difference between a repair versus a replacement? If this ends up a repair, why does Eagle have to get involved if we're not dealing with the concrete structure underneath the I-beams?
Because we don't know that yet. But
so again, why are we getting Eagle involved until we know what we need? I guess that's my question. Should they be involved yet?
Yes. The Eagle has to be involved with anything to do with the river crossing.
Because they have big fines.
The river crossing stuff.
When we went to the Frugal Five, every road commission commented about Eagle.
Well, I know, but again, if we find out that this is a repair, why do we have to get Eagle involved and their noise going until we know if it's a repair or a replacement?
They may have to be involved in a repair.
I would say get in touch with your state senators.
We did that. Right.
I don't write the laws.
I can tell you what happens if you don't.
Yes.
We changed the culvert on.
Because there's nothing saying that 20 some years ago when they poured or did whatever, because this is from Kevin, so just so he said he remembers doing something there like that when he first hired him.
Right.
20 some years ago. Depending on what they did, if it wasn't proper, he was liable to say, you rip it out, you shouldn't have done that to begin with. They now are just going to figure it out.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And what you're telling me, there's no way around that.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
Kathy.
However, on another part of the update with that, we got a letter from Eagle, or notification from Eagle, that the normal individual that we've dealt with is gonna be out for a significant amount of time. And so we've got a different rep that we're gonna deal with.
Is it Matt?
Is that
I
good or
believe
bad?
so.
Oh, that's good then.
Matt's good. Matt's good.
So,
So,
so that could actually help
so was
speed
this,
things up.
you probably don't know whether this was an accident that Scavina done,
I have no
Or
idea.
sick or whatever.
I thought maybe.
I don't dig into those questions.
When we was doing Camden Road Bridge, Matt met us out there, and it was like night and day. That guy has some
Yeah,
common
I
sense.
know, I dealt with building
Yeah.
inspectors over the years.
So, so that could,
That could
in the
really
long
help
run,
us.
help us, but when it comes down to it,
I was thinking maybe John accidentally went in the water or something, you know.
I have no idea. I don't ask.
Wound up like Jimmy
The
Hoffa.
bridge itself is, like, I've got some pictures if you want to. I got some pictures of the bridge itself from underneath, and just if you want to look, it's a normal I-beam, steel.
It's gone.
Well, the top part of the I-beam is gone, so it's basically sitting like this with boards sitting on it.
Right, I see.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the pictures.
Yeah, well, I was here
Okay.
when you saw me, you
So-
showed me the pictures. Which again, triggered the, can't we just replace the I-beams and move forward?
Again,
That'd be
if,
nice.
if everything isn't done right, and then you,
Well, that's too bad. I would think
So-
that if we don't disturb their surrounds, we
but
should
there's
be able to
nothing saying
repair.
it was done right at the beginning.
Right,
Well,
so
some
that's
things
where
get
Scott
grandfathered in unless, Eagle has some money.
Engineering's gonna take a look at that,
Yes,
Yes.
the footings and.
everything to do with it, yes.
Okay.
So I have a question. I mean, let's assume here that, you know, we're gonna have to replace this thing and it could be, you know, $200,000-300,000 project. And the township's gonna have to pay for half of it. There's a big dairy that's not too far from there. I don't know whether that's on Stewart Road.
To be honest with you, they're the ones, their trucks going across it or what brought it to
Yeah.
their attention.
So my question is, you know, is it possible we could get them or the township could get them to help pick up part of the match?
Well, always could ask, I mean, just like on Elm, if the farmer there is willing to help, always can help, I mean. Yes,
I think that's worth pursuing.
cause there's nothing that says, like we've talked in the past, that it's the township's responsibility.
Yeah.
It just has to have a match, it can be from
Yes,
that,
yes.
it can be from that farmer, it can be from a business, and, you know.
Yeah.
So. All right, so anyway, moving on. The Elm Road Bridge, as we just talked about, we got the extra hydraulic shots done. She's still saying it's gonna take about 3 to 4 weeks to get the plan back to, and then Eagle, Matt, whoever's doing it,
hopefully.
will then dictate what we have to put in there. The safety projects that we're doing for the rumble strips and the edge lines markings is due to be complete, well, it has to be completed by November 15th. So they've still got some rumble strips, I believe, on territorial and some painting to do on that and bankers. The countywide pavement marking, they're still working on that, but they're working on some of the special markings, stop bars, railroad crossings, all that kind of stuff right now. And from what Heather's saying, that they're fairly close to being completed with that for the year. I guess as you noticed, we came in, they did the parking lot
That looks nice.
striping.
I know where to park now.
We look professional now.
Let's see. Not as it's a big deal, but we're looking at taking orders for the employees to get some more like clothing, whether it be jackets, shirts, whatever that has our logo on it. We don't pay anything for it other than Heather's kind of coordinating it. She takes the orders, everything's paid directly to the company from the individuals, but it's just kind of, it's out there, so, and then if the commissioners would like something there too,
Have I know?
we can work on that.
Well, it's
But
nice
she'll
that-
have samples of different types of shirts.
Thanks for letting us know that that the road commission isn't paying for those.
Yes.
So that way when we see them all show up, it's like,
Yep.
okay, who bought those?
Absolutely,
Perfect.
no
Like it.
cost.
That's right, no question, and we already know, alright.
You would have never asked that question, would you?
I would've, like, where did
let's
that
see.
come from?
And the last line here says, payment can be made via cash or checks to Heather,
Okay,
so that she can work that.
alright, Heather's in charge.
Yeah.
See Heather.
Just another reminder, our annual traffic summit's gonna be on Tuesday, the 29th,
Yep.
at 10 a.m. at the Hillsdale City Hall.
29?
I gotta write that on the book.
That's Tuesday.
And we don't have to tell you we're going or not, we can just show up,
No,
right?
You can just show up.
At City Hall upstairs.
City Hall,
They did it last year.
29,
Yeah.
at 10 a.m.
Yes.
10 a.m. City Hall.
And then on Thursday, October 31st, it'll be our safety day. So it'll be like a all-day training for the guys and ladies and lunch and all that good stuff. You're more than welcome to come and mingle.
What day was that again?
Thursday, the 31st.
10, oh, I'm gonna be on the airplane.
I don't know where you're going.
Well, actually, already, on 30th, I'll be in Arizona visiting my grandbaby.
Oh, okay, well, that's all.
We'll have fun there.
Thank you.
That's all.
That will also be our last day of 510s. And so the following Monday, the 4th of November, will be on, 410s, will be on 5/8s come Monday, the 4th. Let's see. On state roads, we're almost done with our second round of roadside mowing along the state roads. We've done shoulder gravel on most of US 12. We started working on 99, that's a whole, a whole debacle that I'll stay out of there. As far as Birmingham, we're working on Fowler Road and Reading Township. We're about ready to do the gravel. I talked with Alan about looking at it today after the board meeting and just make sure everything looks like what we talked about. If that's the case, probably next week we'll be adding the gravel to that, and then we'll be moving to Fowler, or to Hakes. We're almost done on the same point with Genesee. We're almost ready to add gravel to that. That'll get that one completed. And more than likely, we might be going to Riker after that, but that's.
After you.
Yes. Okay, let's see.
Question on Genesee, if I may. Does that mean all your tree ditching and deburring's done there?
From
Okay,
2000.
Very much.
okay. So when I go to that Fayette Township meeting, they're gonna say, oh, Kathy, the road commission did a great job, a little late, but did a great job on Genesee. That's what I'm hoping to hear.
We've got one individual that's probably gonna tell you wants more trees cut, but that's what we're doing.
Alright, alright.
And so they're about ready to, again, probably next week they'll be adding gravel.
Okay.
The crack seal, Reading Road's complete, we'll be hitting Lake Diane, and Camden Road is complete. The road closures again is Elm Road and Somerset Road. Let's see. Just for more update, we did go to the Purple 5 meeting earlier this week. One of the conversations was, do we still want to keep the Frugal 5 going? So that's, I said I would bring it back and you two were there, but I'll bring it back and let you guys discuss it. And it kind of sounds to me like after the fact that most of the counties were still in favor of doing it, there was one that was kind of just questioning, does it really serve a purpose? Cause we get all these updates from Southwest Council and all the different, committees and conferences we go to, you get the same updates over and over again. And so, from what I heard from most of them anyway, was that the Frugal Five isn't necessarily getting all these CRA updates and McCristup updates and all this. This is more of a down in the weeds,
Yeah.
you know, talk amongst counties is what we can do to, like the grant, you know, combination of grants and
Or
stuff.
what other counties are doing that we're not.
Yeah, so,
Practical kind of stuff.
so I kind of took it as, and I think John's gonna send out a thing to everybody to kind of get their opinions. I kind of took it as everybody is still kind of wanting to do it, so.
I think we would.
Yeah, my understanding is years ago, they used to meet 4 times a year. In
We
recent
did.
years, it's been cut back to 2, and I think that's sufficient. But I wouldn't wanna see it come to a halt.
Well,
That's,
the manager from, Berry County, who was in favor of us disbanding, he did throw out at the end, that we could go virtual. So,
But I think maybe you had left, maybe you hadn't left, but I know that John Lindsay kind of feels like he's not in favor of doing a virtual thing.
Is he also from Berry County?
no, he's from
No, he's
St.
from St.
Joe.
So who are the Frugal Five? Refresh my memory, please.
that's Frugal Five plus one.
Yeah, plus one that don't really Frugal Five.
So it's,
One that isn't
right now
frugal.
it's Cass, St. Joe, Berry,
Cass,
Hillsdale.
St. Joe, okay.
Kalamazoo's the plus one,
And Branch.
and Branch.
So you got the 4 counties together here on the border,
Hillsdale,
plus
Cass,
Berry.
St. Joe, Branch, and Berry, okay.
Yep.
And then Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I probably wrote that down before.
But the guy from Berry is heavily involved in a bunch of stuff
Yes,
at the state
across the
level.
state, yeah.
And none of the rest of the managers down here are.
Okay, so he's very busy
Yeah,
doing state
And-
levels.
yeah.
And with that virtual option, if, say like he wants to join virtual, but everybody else wants to meet,
Right,
again, that's what I
Yeah.
think.
That could happen.
right.
We're
That would work
We're
too,
just
just in
throwing
case
that
you
out to
couldn't
the
make it.
boards, and he's gonna be
And
asking.
board members need to attend this. I mean, I'm not saying it should be mandatory or
right.
anything, because everybody's got their own schedule.
Right.
But yeah, to go and talk with other board members
Yeah.
and managers, and it's enlightening.
I think so,
But
They did it on the 14th, Columbus Day?
no, this past Monday,
We were
21st.
Oh, 21st. Oh,
was when we
okay.
were there.
but we still work on Columbus Day.
All right, yeah. Okay,
So anyway, I said I'd throw that out there.
Well, thank you for throwing it out. I'm in favor of keeping it.
Me
So
too.
We had a couple of meetings now with 2 different companies regarding our fuel pumps. So we're gonna have to do something with them, and so it's gonna take new pumps, new like card reader style things, and depending on whatever company we go with, have different, like, one works off of maybe a Pack Pride card, one works off of a Wax card, some are a standalone, like just a key fob that goes to our system only. There's a lot of ways to do it, but we're gonna wind up having to put up a bid together and see what everybody has to offer. But basically, from talking with at least 2 different companies that I've dealt with so far, we're looking anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 to
per
replace.
pump or total?
Total. That would replace 3 pumps, which would be 6 nozzles, the card system that goes with it to track everything and everything that goes along with it. The existing tanks, evidently, from both companies, say they feel the tanks are fine. They can retrofit everything back and forth, that's not an issue.
I think that card reader will really help out the ladies.
I think so too, for,
The guys.
and you
Everybody.
guys, I mean,
Because you don't have to figure this, or if somebody forgot to write it down, and we run through that.
because we're still handwriting
Yeah,
what vehicle, how many gallons, who got it, and then inputting it into the computer. Instead of a key fob or a card
it'll come right back
automatically doing it.
and put it in there.
So yes,
What's the longevity on those pumps? 5 years, 10 years, 50 years?
well, these have been here for 30.
Well, I know, but past stuff is built better than current stuff.
I would have to say it'd be at least 20 years.
Do they have guarantee for 20 years? Warranty, excuse me?
1 year,
I doubt it, but
30 days or 30 feet?
yeah, whichever comes first.
that would all have to be part of the bid and
Okay.
everything,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I mean, none of them seem to be too worried about doing it. I even asked the last one, okay, so if we actually got a bid, decided what we want, who we're getting it from, how long and when could you do it? They said, oh, about a week. So they would come in here, tear everything out, they have to do some saw cutting to do some work. They said about a week, they could have everything up and going and.
So what systems are, you said the one was a fob and the other's a card.
Mhm.
Now, each vehicle's gonna have a card?
Well, every system is a little different, but if you go with the key fob, that would be like attached to your key ring,
Right.
and every vehicle would have its own, so you plug it in,
Right.
the individual would type in his odometer reading and his employee number,
Yeah.
and that's gonna tell you everything they need. Others will be a card, and some of them have one card, same principle, but a lot of times those cards can get lost. Others have two cards, where it's an employee card and a vehicle card, you still can lose things. Or some of them, it's just one card that's an employee card, but then they have to put in the vehicle number. And so there's multiple ways of doing it.
We had, each vehicle had a card and a card holder for the card.
Yeah, but
And
they
you
don't always
put in
stay.
the hours.
Sound like the key fob would be the.
I personally like the key fobs, because even if you wanted to, you can use a cable swedge,
Yep.
and keys, fob, everything,
Yeah, put it
it
with,
stays.
put it with the vehicle.
If you lose the key, you lose the key, but other than that, you don't lose nothing.
I assume there's a cost difference between a key fob and a.
I don't think there's a huge difference in
Okay.
what system
Okay.
you use. It's
Okay.
probably each fob or each card's $5 to $10 a piece, you know.
Right.
I don't think there's a big difference in that.
Cause we're
It's just
talking graders, mowers,
Everything.
backhoe.
every single thing that takes fuel.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, one system works with pack pride, which is very easy, because you only have one pack pride thing, it's by the sheriff's department here. But it would still work off of these fuel pumps, and they can go anywhere in the nation
Where there's a factory.
where there's a pack pride and use it. So when they go to conferences and trainings and stuff like that, they can easily get fuel. The wax card, I think, gets used just as much as probably the pack pride. It's just not as, and that's more of the common gas stations take a wax card. So
That's what we had.
there's good points and bad points to all of them, but it basically, I think, would come down to who could get us the system and offer the best cost and everything. And then whatever system they use, I don't think it would make a big difference. But anyway, I just want to let you know that we're looking at that, and that's the ballpark that we're probably looking at. November 12th is when we're slated to start negotiations with the union. So that will probably be an all-day thing, then we'll move on from there as to how negotiations go. The contract actually ends on the 1st of the year. Hopefully we can get something done, but we're cutting close.
So I guess I have a question in that regard. What day of the week is that?
Tuesday.
That's right, it's the week after election day.
So that's, sorry, go ahead.
So my question is, so what is the plan? We're gonna have all board members at this meeting?
No, no.
The board members do not participate in the negotiations. That's where I was gonna go to, is I need to be able to talk with you guys, whether it's a closed session, whether it's, however, to get your thoughts on where you wanna be, and then I will take that to the negotiations with our attorney, and Katie will be part of it.
And Cluck's there, of course.
Yeah, Mike Cluck is our attorney, that will be.
Well, my opinion is, I think we ought to have a meeting prior to that meeting
I agree.
to at least kick some parameters around.
Right, we should have a
Yes.
closed session
Yeah.
to talk about negotiation.
Yeah.
I agree. Do we have a meeting before then?
We do, don't we, the Tuesday, or the
No.
Thursday?
No, it's the
It's
14th,
passed.
so,
14th
Really?
is the next.
We'd have to do it today, if we're gonna do it with a scheduled meeting.
Well, I won't be here on the 15th, so.
That's a Friday. 14th's our meeting.
That's state holiday.
Only if you shoot a couple.
We don't even have to shoot one. It's a state holiday.
Our world.
I'm a little slow.
I can't do it.
Well, and that's fine, I'm just saying, I didn't think we had a meeting.
well, and I can meet individually or a couple at a time if need be, just to get your
My thoughts
opinions
would be
and what I think.
to call a special meeting, that's what I would be in favor of.
Just call a special meeting and just go right in.
Yeah, it wouldn't last
Yeah.
very long.
Yeah, between
Right in
now
executive session,
that day.
discuss it.
I'm gonna be gone from the 30th until the 7th. So, other than that, I could fit something in.
We gotta do it Monday or Tuesday, which, does that give us enough time to post for a special meeting?
We got it for 3 days.
I can post it, yes, but, so that gives, you're going
Or
to
do we
the
do it after the
what,
7th?
the 30th?
I'm leaving the 30th, I return the 7th, so you could do it the 8th, but you're.
So it'd
and
be
you're back
Friday
on
or
Friday.
Monday, those are the
Yeah.
only 2 days we have
Yeah.
to choose
Yeah,
from.
we got next week.
You got the 28th or 29th, or the 8th.
Who's
I,
all
if it's
going
next
to
week, I will be
the
part of it.
traffic summit? You, Bob, you got your hand up.
I'm planning on
At 10
going.
a.m.
Yeah.
That's at 10 a.m. I mean, we could meet here at 9, and then go to the traffic summit.
Then probably give us
Is that
enough
all right
time.
with you,
Well,
Bob?
yeah, it shouldn't
Yeah.
take real long.
Okay,
Okay,
you will have.
I've already met with, or we have met with Mike Cluck and gone over some of the things that we would like to look at as far as verbiage getting changed. But when it comes to economics, I think that's more where you guys
Yep.
are gonna be concerned with.
Right.
Yeah, gotta have some parameters.
so you just gotta contact Mike Carney on that.
What date,
9 o'clock.
what date did you decide on? 28th?
29th.
The 29th is the traffic summit.
Oh,
We
the
do-
29th, okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
we'll
perfect.
come here first and then go to.
Do you wanna say 8?
8, not 9?
Well,
Oh.
is an hour enough? And to
Depends
get there?
on how much everybody wants to talk.
Wanna do 8:30?
I know this group, so.
I could do 8:30, I'd be difficult to get there by 8.
We'll get
We'll just plan on 8:30.
Okay, 8:30.
All right, I'll change my time then.
You don't have to.
Bring me
All right.
I got my reservation.
I shall have to bring my own coffee and donuts.
And so we've got the sheet that we're making or we'll have made for the set up the township meetings, this year for January 6th, 7th, and 8th. And we're looking at between 2 and 8 for timeframes that we'll offer. And so then we'll send that out to all the townships to let them choose what times they want, and what dates they want. And
So
we'll
you're
go from
having
there.
meetings scheduled at 8 o'clock, so we're gonna go till 9?
Whatever you.
Calm down.
There are some townships who,
Yeah, they can't.
if they work during the day, they need to.
Very
go
few,
later.
we'll have very few at 8. Usually.
Do you want us to reserve 8 for just in case if they really just have to?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. My
So,
brain
But does that
doesn't
give
work
enough
real good after
slots,
8
cause we
o'clock.
took out all the 1 o'clock,
How come we took out the 1 o'clock?
cause
Mike
Harney won't
can't
be
make
here
it.
at any of them.
You can make it at 2. So if we go 2 to 7, it should be able to cover them all.
Are you talking about the township meeting?
Yeah.
2 to 7?
that's what we're passionate.
I won't be there.
I will,
So 8 o'clock slots are available if necessary, they're just not.
We just won't tell them that.
We won't advertise it.
You got three, oh.
If they need, if they need
And
an
they
eight,
read the list.
if they need an 8 o'clock one, they'll ask for it. So if we go 2 to 7, we'll be fine.
Well, that's 6 slots
Yeah.
a day, that's 18 townships.
Right, if we do 2 to 7,
2 to 7.
right. With
That's no
that-
break in
no break.
between.
No dinner.
Yes, right.
Eat an early dinner.
Last year I brought my,
I could get hangry.
Especially at 8 o'clock.
So our goal is to
Lunch
get that out
last year,
on
dinner.
Monday. And we're going to email it and mail it.
Perfect.
That way they can make a decision yet,
Yeah.
this coming meetings that they got.
Just like I said.
Was that 8 AM or 8 PM?
Either one works for me.
we can make it 6 AM, Alan.
Alan
You
don't
don't
care,
care?
he's gonna be there.
He'll be there, he's all done.
All right, I've got 2 other things here.
Boy, you've
So-
been busy.
Yes, I have. So that I don't hand you a couple policies saying, here, approve these, I'm gonna hand them to you and say, here, look at them, and we'll approve them next meeting.
Good idea.
So, one of them is gonna be and it's gonna tie in with the next one that we do here. We're gonna do the cost share policy. And this first one's gonna tie into what you've already approved for the permit fees. The residential, commercial, and field drives policy. This used to have, a chunk in it where it actually had the same cost as for the driveway policies. I took it out of here, just as reference the most current, permit policy, so the cost will be the same. And this is really just to tell people how we expect the driveway or field drive or whatever to be put in. So this is more of a procedural thing, and the cost and everything are associated with the other one that you've already done. So here's one for each of you on that, and we can talk about them next meeting.
I'll give them my too.
And then I also have a very lengthy one, but there's very little change in it, other than the existing policy on drug and alcohol testing. So, again, this is basically the same exact policy that you had in the past. I did add one section to where it defines when and why or how we would do drug testing or alcohol testing if an accident were to happen that doesn't meet the DOT requirements. Okay, so basically, this is all the requirements for our basically our CDL drivers is what it encompasses. But one of the okay, so for one of the instances that we could, and I'm recommending that we approve, is you also will get tested for a reportable incident or accident, which means that it's related, it's spelled out here, which means a job-related accident or job-related incident which results in personal injury, which requires off-site medical care or treatment, or causes property damage estimated to exceed $500. So that's the addition there is right now under the DOT guidelines, and that only applies to the CDL drivers, is that if somebody gets taken off scene and treated, or a vehicle gets towed and the individual is cited. So if they're not cited, which happens several times, if a vehicle might get towed out because it's totaled or damaged where it can't be driven, if they're not cited, it doesn't meet the requirements for the mandatory DOT drug testing. But what I'm calling out is if it exceeds $500 worth of damage, which could even be an administrative or non-union person, if they damage something in excess of $500, that we would still send them to have a drug and alcohol test done. So that's the biggest difference. Everything else is pretty much the same as the current policy that's on the books right now. Let me see it.
I don't think so.
And so here's a copy of all those for each one of you that we can. And any of these, if you read through them throughout the week or whatever, and you got any questions, please call, ask.
Thank you.
I'll address anything, and then we can bring them back in next meeting and approve